everybody, it's Lori and welcome to Main Street Gardener. I'm a garden in Zone 7B outside the DC area here on the East Coast, and it is officially a garden season 2025. It's March, the deep winter cold has moved out and it's starting to warm up. Today is absolutely gorgeous. It's a little crisp in the mid 40s, but our 10-day is between mid 40s all the way up to mid 50s, and I'm gonna start getting some work done. So I'm just gonna take you around the garden and we're just gonna get started getting this garden ready for spring. Okay, so to get started, I decided to work on this terraced bed. This flower bed is right next to our little historic summer kitchen, and then it goes all the way up to our main patio. We had this area tiered since it was a slope. So I need to deal with this climbing rose and then just overall clean up. Now this bed is quite a mess. It is full and beautiful, as you can see here in the summer. Lots of heuchera, sedum that will pop up, mums, hydrangeas, and beautiful totem pole grasses, but those need to be cut back today as well. So to get started today, my first project is working on the roses. So I just need to, this is a white climbing rose. I just need to defoliate it, do some trimming, and then I want to attach a wire to stretch across so that it can grow properly. So let's jump in and get this project done. So trimming up a climbing rose isn't really any different than a regular rose. You still want to look for any disease stems. You still want to defoliate the rose to protect it and make sure it has great health. I think the main difference is what I'm looking for is the direction that it's going to grow. You want the branches to start growing laterally because that's where it's going to make shoots and you get all your beautiful blooms. Now this is a first year white climbing rose. It's actually its second year, but I moved it last year, and so I'm considering it a first year rose, especially in this space. So I'm just going to go through and give it a really healthy prune. Don't be afraid to prune back your roses. It's just going to really help you with their health, their strength as they grow, especially with a climber. Now, the next thing we want to do after I get this all pruned up today is I do want to connect a wire from one side to the other to give me a way to grow this rose laterally in this space. Now, to do this, I asked for my husband for some help. He's going to go ahead while I'm still doing some garden cleanup, put the drill in. This is actually a kit that I got off Amazon. And you can use just, there's tons of methods for hanging a wire for roses. I wanted to really do this one sturdy and make sure it's really secure. And so I did purchase this kit to use. What I like about this is it has the gadget that you'll see in just a minute, where as you put it together, you can then strengthen it or tighten it if the line starts to lag. So as the weight of the rose or just over time, it's going to get some slack in the line and you can just tighten it up with this bracket attachment. So I'll put the link to this pack in the description of the video, but I'm excited to have this wire hung. And now you can see we can come in and tighten these little loops if needed as this rose grows. So I'm just doing one line across for now. I'm just going to get this rose really going strong across this line. And I do have to get some clips to bring those branches down. And then over time, as we get new branches, I'll start connecting them to this rail. Okay, next on the list is pruning back these totem pole grasses. So if you're looking for a tall, kind of skinny grass, I highly recommend a totem pole, hence the name. They just grow beautiful, and it is though the time to trim them back. You do want to cut them back before they start growing. They do have beautiful green growth underneath, so it's best to just get in there and make it happen. I like to use these hedge trimmers. They just kind of make easy work of the process, and just the cleanup is really what takes the most amount of time. Okay, so now it's time to clean up this terrace garden bed. So this is one of the easiest areas in my garden, and it's one of the most beautiful. It has a mix of heuchera, heucherella, sedum. I have some mums, hydrangeas, the rose, just a variety of plants. We had to do this terrace because, of course, the garden here slopes down to our back entry. So today I'm just doing a lot of the annual cleaning up, raking back all of the dead branches and leaves that have accumulated. I'm also going to evaluate this space. So all of the heuchera need to be cut back, and otherwise you don't see a lot in the space right now. The ajuga's asleep, the sedum's asleep, all those things will pop up soon this spring. So if you have heucheras or heucherellas in your garden, it is time to prune those back as soon as the snow is cleared and you feel like it's getting close to springtime. Now there is a trick to these. You cannot just take a hedge trimmer or a trimmer and weed whack them to the ground. They have a little center to them, and then they have the sprouts that come out. So all you really want to do is just go around, clean up the old foliage like I'm doing here, but just make sure you don't cut away those little kind of roots. Like you'll see right there next to my glove, there's like a little root that pops up, and then it's got tons of shoots coming out of it. If you grow these, you'll know what I'm talking about. But the first time I grew them, I was tempted to cut them all the way to the ground, and that is just not a good idea.
So I think I got a lot done this afternoon. We got the totem poles trimmed, got some hydrangeas trimmed, and cleaned up this bed a little bit. We hung the rose wire and got that temporarily connected. I do need to order some tape for the roses, but hoping that I can get it to grow all the way across. So I think that'll be really fun. And then in cleaning up this terrace bed, I actually noticed that there is something going on down at the ground level. I don't know if we've got an animal that was tunneling, but I'm gonna have to come in, probably add some soil and really work on this area. It's definitely, something's going on. You can see there's space right there under these heucheras. And so maybe the soil's just washed, but I'm almost thinking that might have been some animal living down there this winter. I'm not sure, but this entire area needs compost, and the bottom may need some soil.
So the space is looking really good and cleaned up. The last thing that I need to do is just shape a little bit on these spirea plants. They don't need a lot. Just want to give them a little bit of a snip just to keep their size in check.
So it feels so good to have this entire area ready for mulch and ready for spring. So this area is also clean now because I'd already done the hydrangeas, but we are going to tackle this beast of a vine. And I'm just going to get in there and really cut it back and give it a nice haircut and kind of a rejuvenation prune. We moved this from my mom's. It's on this gorgeous trellis, and we did not cut it real hard. We didn't want to shock it. We had to move it. It had already leafed out. If you can look inside, there's a globe. So it's really beautiful. It blooms just these gorgeous little light red blooms, and they're just really soft, and of course the hummingbirds love them. So let's get this tackled next. Okay, so the challenge is there is this huge braid that is coming around, and if I give it a hard prune, I need to stand back and take a look. I think I'm going to take the trimmers and just get this scraggly stuff off so that I can see what I'm dealing with.
Okay, so this is what I'm dealing with. This has come up and it's just then got offshoots, and I almost think I need to go ahead and cut that back. Then there's another one right here that goes to the interior. I think if I cut those back, then this year I can kind of train it to come down and in a better shape, but it's gonna hurt because it's such a hard prune, but I think it will be better in the long run. And I'm sure it's going to come back, but it's not like it's not an expensive plant. I can always change it completely out. Okay, so this comes around, it's connected here, and it's connected in here. It's connected in like 4 spots. Wow. It's a huge part of this vine, but I just think it's causing the clog up. I did it! Oh my gosh. Look at that. It's really an amazing how these plants twist and turn. I mean, this could be, may find something to do with that if I trim it all off. I mean, isn't that incredible? This had 2, 3, 4, 5, looks like 6 different, and it has buds all over it where it was going to start new growth, which I hate that, but we really need this thing to, we really needed to do this. So now, there's some other pieces that are starting to create those twists, and I'm going to go ahead and take those out. And as soon as probably mid-March, I'm going to apply a probably plant tone to it and some compost. And I'm sure it's just going to take off. And what I'll do is throughout the growing season, any new growth, I'm going to try to come in and move the branches down. Is that a hawk? I think it's a hawk in the tree.
It took about an hour to prune back this vine, but I really think it's going to thrive and just give us beautiful blooms and growth this spring. So overall, it was such a productive day in the garden. I feel so good about getting these spaces cleaned up, tidied up, and just ready for a beautiful season. I like to do my cleanup in sections, and so it feels really good to have started at the base of the garden and move up the driveway and up into the main flower beds. And I'm also so relieved that I was able to get this rose set up for success this year and pruned back and ready to go. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope that you are able to get out in your garden and start some cleanup and getting ready for spring. Thanks so much for watching. Please take a minute to click like, subscribe, and click the bell if you want notifications. I look forward to sharing my spring garden with you soon.